As Rangers fans, we know that a goaltender is the backbone of a hockey team. At Abundant Wealth Management, we are your financial backbone, offering financial planning, wealth management, tax planning, and estate planning services. To schedule your free consultation, head to www.abundant-wealth.com. That's www.abundant-wealth.com. Abundant Wealth Management. Live, plan, triumph.
You're listening to Rangers Radio, your home for end-to-end coverage of the New York Rangers. With your hosts, Brendan Azoff, Zach Domino, and Steve Pappas. Blue Shirts fans, the puck drops now.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Rangers Radio. Just the two of us today, me and Zook. Brendan he's doing more important things, Zook. I think he's in the middle of he got engaged over the summer. He's getting married soon. Like he's got a little bit more on his plate than just whatever the hell's going on in New York Rangers land during the preseason in September. So that's why he's not with us. So please excuse that. But I think it's a pretty valid excuse to not be here.
Let's hope this relationship ends or never ends, not like a Ranger season does in heartbreak and sadness. So, yeah, like you said, he's doing much more important things than talking about a team that probably is eventually going to break our hearts.
I mean, we got actual National Hockey League games to talk about, sort of preseason. They still count, but we were able to get some tape on some of these guys. But first, how you doing? I know a big game for the Mets tonight. I've already checked out. I know you haven't. So how we doing today?
Yeah, it's like annoying. It's like annoying to have to like watch the Mets. And then I watched between the Dodgers, the Reds, and the Mets game last night because the Dodgers and Reds went into extra innings, like 31 innings of baseball. And that's just way too much. Like way too much. 9 innings of Mets is normally way too much. But like I'm using the Rangers as like a quencher for how sad I am about the Mets. Like I'm just excited for the season to start for the Rangers. Preseason gets me like I hate preseason in all sports because it gets me like so excited for the regular season. The fact that it's not here and like I can't really get up for these preseason games because I know how meaningless they are for most players. The interesting thing, and we'll talk about it in this episode, is even though it's meaningless for 90% of the players, the Rangers do have a few players that fit in that 10%. The Rangers are trying to find 2 or 3 spots that are wide open for a wide range of players, veterans that a few months ago had nothing to do with this team, prospects that the Rangers fans and Rangers have talked about for 3 or 4 years at this point. So how those guys play in the preseason is literally the only thing I care about. Didn't get upset about that loss at all. As someone who during the regular season, if that happens, will be the first person to run and scream and yell on Twitter that this is the same team. I put literally no stock into that collapse. It has nothing to do with last year. It's not that I'm a professional athlete, but I can only imagine how little you can get up for the preseason versus a regular season game. These guys know doesn't matter. You're just trying to get out healthy, skate around, get some cardio from most of the important players on the Rangers. But we'll talk about Othman. We'll talk about Perreault. We'll talk about Berard. We'll talk about Morrow. So there are a few Rangers, especially tonight, that have to show something as we come down the stretch.
Yeah, the Rangers got their third preseason game tonight against the New York Islanders. That game, I believe, is at MSG. It's so hard to keep up with that, obviously preseason. But the Rangers have played 2 preseason games, and the first one, 5-3 win over the Devils, doesn't matter, but it is always good to beat the Devils. And then 5-4 overtime loss to the Boston Bruins, a game that they had a 4-1 lead going into the third period and blew that one. And again, it was just funny. I know Brendan was talking about it in our group chat that you got to break the curse of the perfect preseason. So you got to lose one. And I think we were all more than happy to lose that game, especially seeing a guy like Gabe Perreault. When you just mentioned it, that's a guy that I have been sitting here and I know I said it last week. If Gabe Perreault has this lights out training camp and preseason, then he should be starting he could be starting in the National Hockey League. Gabe Perreault has looked like the best Rangers prospect that we've seen in years. He has come out and he has lit up whoever he has faced in the first 2 games that he's played. His shot looks unreal. His pace is great. He's physical. He's on the puck all the time. He's a guy that once he's out on the ice, he has been noticeable in this preseason. I will say the expectations are a little tempered because they are playing against, fringe National Hockey League guys. They haven't played up against they weren't playing up against, Hughes and Heischer and Bratt in New Jersey, or Pasternak, or whoever else the Boston Bruins have in their forward group. You get a little bit more of that look tonight, but it'll be interesting. He's in the lineup with Miller and Zibanejad tonight. That is telling, I think, that Mike Sullivan wants to see what he looks like with that top group against an Islanders team that is most likely going to throw out, not necessarily a day one or a game one lineup, but a decent enough National Hockey League lineup. Is Gabe Perreault going to have that same production and that same value in that top line spot with Mika and Miller that he has in the first 2 games? Because, dude, he's looked good. He's looked so good. He's been the best Ranger on the ice, bar none, in the first 2 preseason games.
They're really in an interesting spot right now because he's done literally. There was like a minute chance that we'd honestly be talking at this point that Gabe Perreault has a real shot to make the pro lineup on opening night. And he's literally done that, done everything you could possibly ask of him. The other side of that is, like, without a doubt, there would be some benefit of sending him down for a little bit. Like, without a doubt, he would benefit from getting sent down, but may also be ready at the same time. So it's like this weird, like, middle area with him where we're going to find out about, what the Rangers are trying to do this year when it comes to him. Because honestly, like you're saying, if you're just like put the top 12 guys in the lineup right now, there's without a doubt. If you want to talk about the fact he's a little small, the fact that he just came from college, all of that stuff, and how he could probably in 2 months come up from the AHL and look like even a better player than he is right now. I also believe that side of it. So really, I'm sitting here where I'm probably not upset with either way where they go with him. Obviously, as a fan, I'd probably be more excited if he was on the team, obviously. But there's a lot that goes in to playing on a line with Miller and Zibanejad. Like that, for all intents and purposes, I don't care how the Rangers release their lineup with Trocheck, Panarin, and Lafreniere sometimes being first on the list. That is their first line. JT Miller and Miko, whoever plays on that wing. So it's not just, it's playing 20 minutes a night. It's playing against other teams' first line players. It's having to play defense. It's having to play physical. It's knowing for certain that they're going to pick on him to start his career because he is a little smaller. That there's a lot that goes into the decision on if he's ready to take that on. From skill-wise, he is. But it's all the other stuff that sometimes is just as important as the skill that you really don't know unless you throw him out. So we're, like I'm said, you're going to see what the Rangers' philosophy is with him. Are they going to let him sink and swim starting with opening night? Because I really don't want the call him up, send him down, call him up, send him down. Or are they saying, hey, let's give him 20 games to find his feet, dominate in Hartford, get even more confidence that he has now, and then call him up and hope that guys like Radish can fill in the third line with Cooley playing second or first line minutes and then readjusting from there?
Yeah, I think, listen, I just mentioned that Perreault, in my opinion, Gabe Perreault has been the best looking Rangers prospect, whether it just be preseason, that I've seen in a long time. That includes Lafreniere, that includes Capo Caco, that includes Vitaly Kravtsov, that includes Philip Hedl, that includes all these guys that the Rangers have brought up over the last 7 or 8 years that were supposed to be the face of the franchise that weren't. That being said, with how good Gabe Perreault's preseason has been, it would still benefit him to start in the American Hockey League. You saw him at the start of last season or the end of last season when he came up to the National Hockey League. He looked a bit overwhelmed, and he is a little undersized. He does have that really good shot, and we saw it against Boston on that second goal of the game that the team scored. It was so good. Yep. But Gabe Perreault needs to start in the American Hockey League. He needs to learn how to play the pro style big body, because you mentioned he's going to get picked on. He needs to learn how to play that at a level where he can outskill the opponent. And in the National Hockey League level, I don't think Gabe Perreault, as it sits right now, can outskill his opponent and learn how to play professional hockey. I mean, he's been playing college and juniors for his entire life. I mean, he's played 6 games basically of professional hockey. You can't learn the system. You can't learn how physical, how demanding the professional game is by just 6 games. So even if it's 10, 15, 20 games, like you mentioned, in the American Hockey League this season, I think it would benefit the Rangers. It would benefit Perreault if he starts in Hartford and is able to learn that pro game. But to your point as well, he can't be pogo sticking from he can't be racking up those Uber miles from New York to Hartford.
Not him.
It's got to be one or the other. You can't have him up and down and up and down. And if he is up, he's got to be playing. He can't be in the press box. He can't be on the third line. If Gabe Perreault is in your National Hockey League lineup come whatever day that you call him up, or if it's in game 1, he cannot be playing on the third line. He has to be in the top 6, and he has to be getting chances to be successful offensively because he has the tools, he has the motor, and he has the shot to be a successful National Hockey League player. It's a matter of will the team and will the organization and will the coaching staff put him in the correct positions? And I think, listen, you got a new coach. We said it about Gallant. We said it about Laviolette. Like, he didn't put these guys necessarily in the spots to succeed. I think a little bit less with Laviolette in, Alexis Lafreniere got to play with Panarin and Trocheck, and that was one of the best lines in hockey. Gabe Perreault needs to be playing top 6 minutes. And I've said it, till I'm blue in the face since this show has started up for this year. And I think at some point, I think maybe mid-November, that will be my timetable. If he does not make this team out of camp, mid-November is when you're going to see Gabe Perreault come up into the National Hockey League lineup.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if I was a betting man, which I am, I would say he probably starts in AHL because when you look at it as a whole, it just makes sense. Even like we both commented on the pogo stick back and forth, just give him 20 games there, and then it's literally these 60 games are yours. Like, just don't even worry. Like, don't worry about it. We're not testing the waters with you. You prove yourself in the AHL. Now go run with it in the pros. And talking about that Boston game, 2 other guys that I wanted to mention. That guy Boyko stinks. Not that the Rangers are ever going to have to worry about him playing, but I've never seen a guy drop so quick. Like, literally just drop. Like, the guy's about to shoot and he just drops. And it was like, didn't bother me at all because we'll never speak about this man again besides preseason. He's probably like 8th on the depth chart of Rangers. Quick, Shesterkin, Garan. I know they signed that kid from UConn.
Callum Tongue.
Yeah.
I saw one of his girlfriend's TikToks, or one of his girlfriend's TikTok this week about it was her dressing up in his pads. So that was a fun one.
He's very good. And then the other guy I want to talk about is, because this is what I actually get excited about, even though I say preseason doesn't matter. Gavrikov, man. Gavrikov is good. Gavrikov is all right. He's a different level of defensive defenseman that we've probably had since like McDonough was in his prime. And McDonough was even different than Gavrikov because he wasn't as big. Like, this man takes up space. And I saw it and I agreed with it. And it's probably because I'm a glass half full guy right now, specifically with Adam Fox. I know on the show we all are with him. I even think some of Fox's mistakes is because he's never played with a guy as good as Gavrikov.
We're getting ahead of ourselves here because I do want to get into the Fox and Gavrikov impressions. I still let's table that for now. We were just talking about Perreault and the good of these Rangers prospects. I think we should get into the bad before we get into Fox and Gavrikov. And that bad has been Brennan Othmann. Brennan Othmann has not had a good preseason. It's been noticeable. It's not like it's been it's not like he's been out there and being unnoticeable. Right? It's been a noticeable bad. And it started in that first preseason game against the Devils. It started before the turnover. It started before the turnover that led to the goal. I think the Rangers had a power play and ended up, fumbling a puck, then whiffing on a pass or shot, and then it turned into a 2-on-1 the other way. And then later in that period, he gives up the puck. The Devils go down the ice. Well, he gives up the puck, takes a hit, and then the Devils go down the ice and immediately score. Then later in the third period of that game, he takes a bad penalty late in that game where he catches whoever that was on the Devils up high and in the chin. I was very surprised to not see any supplemental discipline from the league there, because that was a dangerous, prototypical like shoulder to the head Jacob Trouba hit. And it was funny. I'd seen on Twitter, it was like, when does Jacob Trouba throw his first people's elbow in someone's chin this year? And someone goes wrong. It was Brennan Othman. Brennan Othman's the first guy throwing elbows and chins. But for a guy that has so much this year on the table with this New York Rangers team, it's been very underwhelming. I mean, he's just not shown much. And, I've said he's had the shot. He's got to have offensive time. And he's been given that in the first 2 games and just, hasn't really done much with it.
And he's a guy I worry about. And I worry about him from a fan standpoint, because then you start thinking about the past and you start thinking about prospect hugging and you start thinking about the fact that Capo Caco, Brendan Othman plus could have turned into Jake Gensel and won us a championship. And now it may turn into Will Borgen. And I don't know, like you're saying, it's noticeably bad with Othman. That is his ceiling now, that like he goes elsewhere and maybe turns into like a Jimmy Vesey with a new change of scenery, where he was supposed to be a top prospect and then he finds himself as a 3rd and 4th line winger, maybe 3rd and 4th line winger who's a worker, sure. But I mean, that's not our plans for Brendan Othman, obviously, as we've talked about him over the years. So he's definitely the guy that, you got to worry about. The other side of it is this thing had to shake out. Like there wasn't enough space for everybody, and there's not going to be enough space for all of them. So, I mean, it's pretty clear, and I think we all knew even before this preseason started, like the ceiling between Perreault and Othman probably wasn't even close. But the hope was that Othman could be somewhat of a serviceable pro player. You need guys to fit their roles, and it's like, can he even fit a 3rd or 4th line grinder right now with these turnovers that he's having? The other side of it is he's decreased. It's almost like Noah Laba has stepped in and taken that spot as another guy that you can get excited about. And why I like Noah Laba is because I hate Parsnip. And I'm looking for anyone and everyone to put pressure on him. And Laba does a lot of those things. Laba does a lot of the things, I think, specifically that Mike Sullivan is looking for with this 3rd line that he's constantly talking about is going to be a defensive checking line. He plays that defense. He back checks. He forechecks. More so than anything, he's great on special teams on the penalty kill. All things that you really want from a 3rd line center. The other side of that is like, are you throwing out a Noah Laba, Will Cooley, Taylor Radish 3rd line at the beginning of the season and seriously thinking you're winning a Stanley Cup? Probably not. But if you switch Noah Laba for Parsnip, is that a 3rd line like you're winning a Stanley Cup? Probably not. So I am such in the phase of you got to throw out your best players. I also think, didn't Laba, like, when did he go to Hartford last year? Where was he? Was he in Minnesota?
No, he was at Colorado College. So Colorado College.
Didn't he come earlier than Perreault?
Yeah, Perreault's, they were...
Because he had to play till the end, Perreault. Okay.
They were
and Laba came once the season ended, because he played, and he was decent last year already. So he may even be one where, like, it'd be funny to, like, put the line on, like, if Laba and Perreault both go to the AHL, who comes up first? It has nothing to do with who's playing better, but more so, like, Laba's already had probably 10 or 20 more games, at the professional level, albeit AHL, where if you're looking for someone to just fit that 3rd or 4th line where the Rangers may have room right now, I think Noah Laba has a say on this team moving forward. And maybe at this team, at their ceiling, if it's not to trade for a 3rd line center, it could be Noah Laba. Obviously, the other thing to throw in there is, does Sam Carrick get a look? In a perfect world, he's like being bootstrapped to that 4th line. He's a perfect 4th liner in between whoever you want to call. His winger is Edstrom on one side, and then the other side's either going to be Rempe or Berard. But I think Laba and Perreault, thumbs up. They're the ones that we're excited about, and we just want them to keep playing the way that they're playing. I think they got 4 more games this preseason, and Othman's the one where time is ticking on him. Like, he can't wait till the last game of preseason and turn it on and think like the Rangers are going to forget about the first 5 games. He needs to turn it around tonight and then carry it through the next 3 preseason games to even have a shot at this thing.
I think the talk of Noah Laba needs to needs to calm down a little bit, right? Like he's 22.
He's not going to be in the pros to start the season.
No
chance.
I've seen plenty of people that have sat here and have talked about Noah Laba and how they love to see him. I'd love to see him on the roster as well. I think he's a good player. But if you're talking about trying to formulate a team that can win a Stanley Cup this year, and it's crazy to say again after what had happened last year, but I still believe that that's the goal. The goal from this team is to compete for a Stanley Cup. And I think in the Metropolitan Division, you can absolutely do that with this team for how bad that the division is. Noah Laba is not the answer. I mean, right now you have Parsonen slotted in as that 3C. And listen, you're not a fan of him. From what I've watched of him in the first 2 preseason games, I have been impressed. And it might be because he was on the line with Perreault, but I had noticed him on the ice. I think he had a high motor. I think he was fine in the defensive zone or the offensive zone, being able to, put pressure and forecheck. But there are so many other guys and so many other options right now at the professional level than Noah Laba, Johnny Brodzinski, and I think Sam Carrick as well. I don't believe that Sam Carrick is bootstrapped to that 4th line. I think he fits a 3rd line role better than he fits a 4th line role. However, depending on how this preseason goes, I don't think Dylan Ruberek's coming up or anything like that. But if you can tell me that you're going to have a 3rd line, let's just say for argument's sake, we sit here in November, December, Gabe Perreault has come up. He's in that top 6. So your top 6, right, is Perreault, Miller, Zibanejad, Trocheck, Panarin, Lafreniere. That's your top 6. If you have a 3rd line of Will Cooley, Radish, and Sam Carrick as that 3rd line, that is a go, go, go line. That is a line that will run through someone's face and have the energy, that FU mentality that JT Miller and Mike Sullivan want. Depending on how Dylan Ruberek plays, if you then have a 4th line of Rempe, Ruberek, and Edstrom, you have 6'8", 6'7", and 6'9", or something like that. Like, that is an unbelievable 4th line. Like, you're not asking for a ton of offense out of them, but boy, they'll scare the daylights out of other teams.
And even Parsonen's big if they slot him on the 4th line, like and swap Carrick and Parsonen. He's not 6'6", 6'7", like we're talking about, but he's 6'3", and he's not tiny for sure.
Yeah, no, but there are so many. I think the Rangers have sneaky depth in that bottom 6 that they can be able to plug and play guys. We haven't even talked about Brett Berard, and I think Brett Berard's had a great preseason through 2 games. He's right now not in that lineup, but he can be, right? Brodzinski, Parsonen, who you don't like, but let's see some more of Juuso Parsonen. I don't like him either, but we'll see. If Noah Laba turns out to be anything, Ruberek, that's the beauty of the preseason, is there's so many what ifs to talk about. And there's like all these different combinations that we come to, in our heads and think about. But at the end of the day, it's going to be cookie cutter. It's going to be that cookie cutter lineup, at least for game 1 in against Pittsburgh. And, maybe by November we see some change. But it all depends on how the season starts. I mean, listen, they've got a very advantageous start to the season schedule-wise to be able to win some games early. So, I mean, you get Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and then I think, I don't know what games after that, but I know then you are in Toronto, you play San Jose, you play Edmonton. Like, there's some tough games in there, but you're set up for success to start this season. And, a good start, I'd feel better about a good start this year, especially after what had happened last year.
I just love preseason for like stats like this also, where like Sam Carrick averaged 1 shot per game last year and he had 5 shots. Like, cause that's just like what preseason is for some of these vets. And I dig it. Like you're saying, that 3C is open, and it's almost like Carrick has been tied to that 4th line. Like, everyone's just assuming that he's filled in, but like, why can't he also be the guy to throw his name in the hat for the 3rd line? Again, I keep going back to it specifically because of what Mike Sullivan said, where like he has a like distinct identity that he has for that 3rd line, and Sam Carrick fits it. Sam Carrick also looked good a lot of the times last year. I mean, I know this stat is outdated at this point. He was +5. How many games when the Rangers in that middle of the season where they were losing everything was everyone like, if every line played like the 4th line, this team would be good? So
I know
I
I
mean,
said it.
he definitely has a chance. And like you just said with if it's Carrick and it's Cooley and it's Radish as your third line, like that line is running through anyone. I think Will Cooley changes a lot for that third line if he's slotted there, because if it's Will Cooley, anybody and anyone for a third line in the NHL, you feel really good. But specifically a guy like Radish and Carrick next to Cooley, a very well-rounded third line that you can put out there just to play defense, that you aren't surprised if either of those three score. And I think that's like a huge thing to have on a full defensive line, that after you play defense, it's not just a line that's chipping it and changing. It's a line that could lead the rush. And not that those three guys are going to be running up and down the ice like 13, 10, and 16 are trying to do. But it's nice if they take the puck from someone and it is a 3-on-2, they're not dumping it and changing it. They do have some punch to that line.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time talking about the bottom six in this episode. It just shows how much of a sicko.
And it's just as important in the NHL.
It shows how much of a sicko that we are, that we focus on the bottom six in the preseason. Another guy, I mean, we talk about Matt Rempe a lot. I don't know if you caught this on Sunday. Mike Sullivan loves
him.
Matt Rempe's game on Sunday.
Loves him. I mean, he looked great. I mean, he looks faster because he's someone where once he gets going,
I wouldn't say that specifically. I think
that one where he chased down he doesn't have to be fast. He's just got to be faster than the guys he's going up against. And a lot of times the guys he's going up against are going to be a lot of second and mostly third line defensemen that he gets up on you fast. I mean, 6'7" with that weight. What is it? Mass times velocity. I don't know what it is, but when you talk about how big he is,
don't bother.
when you talk about speed and you talk about how big and you talk about how strong he is, you don't see a lot of guys like that.
You're doing him a disservice, by the way. He's 6'9".
I mean, it's like you don't. That's why that line is so interesting, because NHL teams don't run up against guys like Edstrom and Rempe, who Rempe specifically isn't the greatest skater, even though I think he has got a little quicker. Edstrom's a good skater. There was a lot of times where Edstrom was ranked as the quickest Ranger last year, getting to the puck. So you have 6'8", 250 or whatever he is coming at you. Like, that's when you see the turnovers. That's when you see guys looking over their back when they're getting the puck behind their goal, because they're scared they're going to get slammed. And like I just said with the third line, if you ever have a fourth line that can chip in with a goal, those are the games that a lot of times you win. Because a lot of times what happens is the stars are washing themselves out, especially in big games, and it's what random player is putting a puck in the back of the net.
Yeah, the difference, I think, speed-wise between Rempe and Edstrom is Rempe's 255 at 6'9". Edstrom's 225 at 6'8".
Yeah,
so
he's a big difference.
Considerably lighter.
Yeah,
on the ice. And I mean, listen, if you really want to get squirrely, right? Dylan Ruberek is 6'7", probably. He's 6'7", listed at 205, which pencil thin. He might not be NHL size just yet. I think at 6'7", you probably want to be sitting around at least 225. Yeah. That Edstrom weight. Depending on that's just on elite prospects. I don't really know what the NHL's got him measured at. If you can have,
I'm looking it up.
Dylan Ruberek. If you can have a fourth line that is consisted of a 6'9", 255 winger, a 6'8", 225 winger, and a 6'7", 205 to 2.
They have him 222 on NHL.
Okay. Yeah. A 6'7", 222-pound center. That's got to be the biggest line in hockey. That could be the biggest line in hockey history, right? Sure. I mean, that's a fourth line that, as long as Ruberek is able to play National Hockey League minutes and give you National Hockey League minutes and not just be a statue out there, that's a fourth line that can terrorize people.
Yeah, in that situation, that lineup construction probably works with Cooley on the third line. So you can really run out three lines and then play those guys like
Carrick, Cooley, Radish. Carrick, Cooley, Radish is a sneaky good third.
Yeah, I mean, I think we end up in a place where maybe to start the season, Cooley's in the top six. But if the Rangers are going after the playoffs late in the season and they're throwing out their best lineup, whether it's Perreault or whether it's an addition, Cooley's on that third line. Cooley's great. I love Cooley. Cooley has a role. You don't want Cooley being the best scoring winger. Like, you can't count on him to be your best scoring winger on a top 6 line. Not that he would be in any Rangers roster construction, because he'd either be playing with Mika or like Panarin, and those guys would probably carry the weight. But I mean, you're a good team if you're putting Cooley on the third line because out of necessity that you have 4 other wings that can play ahead of him. So it's a big year for him. It's a big year for Perreault. It's a big year for Othman. The guy we didn't even talk about, we can kind of wrap up the prospect talk before we go to Gavrikov and Fox and some of the pros, is Morrow. I mean,
he's had a good preseason. He's been your guy.
He's my guy, but the way Sullivan has kind of been running things in practice and either running some pairings in the game is, I think he's the odd man out right now. I think he's the odd man out. Even to the point where, like, I think he's playing with Fox tonight. Like, he's not playing with Fox. You're not testing him out like with a potential line mate. If he had a real case, I think you'd see him in more preseason games next to a Susi or next to a Vakanainen or someone like that. To play devil's advocate, to myself playing devil's advocate, is maybe they're seeing if he can play the left side and they want to put him with their best defenseman just so he has some help as he's learning the left side. But I don't think there's any chance that Scott Morrow is making this team as a left defenseman. If he is, if you're putting one of the right defensemen on the left side, it's Schneider, and then you're putting Morrow in at third line. But I mean, it is preseason, so it's throw everything out there and see. You don't know if Scott Morrow can play the left side until you put him out there, but he brings something different. He brings something different to the team that really only Fox brings from a puck moving aspect. That, look, sometimes there may be something to be said about the defense that you're getting from a young guy, but what he brings from the offensive end in the modern NHL could really outweigh that. I mean, we see all the best teams in the league. It's defensemen that can get the puck behind the net, move the puck, join the rush, and he can do that almost better than everyone besides Fox.
Let me tell you something. I mean, listen, Braden Schneider is the guy that right now will be playing his offside, and I think that's just what it's going to be. Sullivan has said
many times
that they are exploring that option of him playing his offside. And of all the guys that are on that D-core that has the ability to do it, I think Braden Schneider is that guy. And if you sit there and tell me your night one lineup against Pittsburgh, your D pairings are Gavrikov, Fox, Schneider, and Borgen, and then
it'd be Susi and Vakanainen. 2 lines have guys on their off, but like you gotta at that point.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe that's a spot for Morrow.
It is.
Maybe that's a spot for Morrow. Maybe it's Susi and Morrow.
My hope is that at the minimum, it's not set. Like, you don't have to have that 6 defensemen set in like the first 10 or 15 games. I would love, like, even if it's the lineup that you said, like the next night you put out Morrow on that third line with Susi. Then the night after that you put Morrow on the third line with Vakanainen. Maybe then one night you slide Schneider down. That one will be a little bit more extreme because I like the top 4 set. But you slide Schneider down to the third line and have everyone on their strong sides. But I just hope if Morrow's not in the opening night roster, he gets some sort of look. Because if he clicks and he works, a ceiling raiser for this team. Because now you have another, I'm not going to say elite, but definitely above average and growing towards that point puck mover from what we've seen of him in the AHL and early on in the preseason, and even stuff you hear about in practice.
All right, let's get into that National Hockey League defensive group that we got to see a little bit of against Boston. And, we'll see some of it tonight. Fox getting a second game in a row, playing with Morrow, Susi, and Borgen playing together. I think that could be a pairing that we're going to see a lot of, at least to start the year. Who knows? And then Matthew Robertson and Pouliot playing that third pairing tonight against the New York Islanders. Fox and Gavrikov looked, I'm going to be very careful with how I talk about this because they looked good. Gavrikov looked good. Fox needs to look better.
Yeah.
Fox, I mean, that turnover in the Asimont goal.
It was 4 Nations Fox.
It was, so I'm going to be truthful. I had to turn it off. I was at work. I watched the first period. That was it. And then I had to get my work done. I didn't see the end of that game. I saw the highlights, saw Fox get stripped and give up a goal immediately. of him trying to do too much, and it enraged me. It enraged me to see Adam Fox turning the puck over like that. We're all Fox apologists on this show. We've said it a bunch. We're all Fox apologists, but that was infuriating to watch because that's not supposed to happen this year. That shit is supposed to be gone. All that is supposed to be out the door with a guy like Gavrikov sitting on your left side. He is supposed to be the eraser. You're supposed to free up the way you play. I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all from Adam Fox on Tuesday night.
I hear you. I understand what you're saying. We're on opposite sides of it in terms of I don't disagree with you getting enraged, but like I couldn't even care less about that than I do. There's like certain guys for the Rangers that like Fox, Igor, JT Miller, probably Panarin, like those are guys that could just turn it on when the regular season starts. Like I'm telling you, and as much as it sucks to say out loud, Adam Fox is an all-in during a preseason game. And the other side of that is I think great players have earned that to an extent. Like I think it's very similar to like when a pitcher goes down and he gets shelled and then he comes up and he's fine in the majors, and then you realize the reason he gets shelled is because you're going down to work on specific things. So they're saying only throw this pitch here or only throw this pitch here. Like again, you never want to see a guy get stripped, but if he does it game 1 or game 2, I'm going to act way different than if it happens in a preseason game. If you can choose, obviously you choose for it not to happen, but we said it a lot of times last year. I think when you look at the Rangers, we'll be sitting here at all times during the year saying Adam Fox is the least of our worries. It's a bad moment. And look, he's gonna get stripped again. Like it's gonna happen. Obviously, when it's your guy, like you're saying, it does hurt because he's like our guy. It's like when Igor gives up a soft one, it just hurts because like he's not supposed to do that. Like when you have guys that you expect a floor from when they don't perform to that floor, I get what you're saying. Like it really does hurt. But he'll be fine. I think him and Gavrikov, once they learn to play with each other, it's gonna be fun to watch because last year we think about it and we think about the fact Fox was playing with a lot of different people. We have to remember that most of Fox's career has been playing with a singular man and Ryan Lindgren. So like it does take time to learn how your defensive line mate plays, and Gavrikov's just a different beast than anyone that he's ever played with before. And if you believe in Adam Fox the way that I believe in him, the way that you believe in him, the way that I know a lot of Rangers fans believe in him, once he figures out, and he will, once he figures out exactly how to play with a guy as good defensively as Gavrikov can be, and you've said it, he's going to be unlocked. He's going to be a different defenseman that we've ever seen because he's not worried about looking over his back because he has the puck behind the net and his guy isn't doing a good job like blocking out the winger from the other side, coming over to put on a hit on him. Gavrikov is everything that Fox needs and more. And that pairing in itself defensively is one of the reasons why I'm so high on the Rangers. Like if the Rangers are to get their ceiling, that's a top 5 defensive pairing in the league.
100%. That's going to have to be a top defensive pairing in the league. Let's game tonight against the Islanders. I'm going to try and do some stuff here. I'm going to see if I can bring this up. I can't. I don't know how this works. That is the lineup tonight, at least the what it looks like it's going to be tonight. Perreault, Miller, Zibanejad, Lafreniere, Trocheck, Othman. That's going to be a line that you're going to want to watch.
You're kind of off, though. Like you got to move to your right.
Pardon?
Like you're off the screen.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I don't know how else this works. I don't think I can.
It's weird. I stayed center and you moved. It's weird. Whatever. No, but we could see it. It's fine.
That third pairing. I mean, I could move this way. You could see.
Yeah, there you go.
Othman, Trocheck, Lafreniere is going to be that line that we are going to be plastering our eyes on tonight because how is Othman going to play with top players on this team? I wouldn't call Trocheck and Lafreniere top players in general, but on this team, how will Othman play with those guys? If he looks better, We'll see. We'll see what that looks like. But that's going to be a huge game for Brennan Othman. Berard Labashiri, that's an interesting third line. And then the
trees.
The trees. The trees are out there. Edstrom, Ruberek, and Rempe. That's
now you
be
got
a fourth
it.
line that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. And I think it's very telling and interesting on where Perreault is and where Othman is. Because where Othman is a placeholder. We know who's the winger on that line with Lafreniere and Trocheck, realistically. Perreault's getting the chance to play with the line that would be open. So I think that is very, very telling. As each preseason game we go till we get to that 6-1, Sullivan is obviously going to try out more and more true things to what he may put out there in night one. So the fact that we're sitting here in game 3 and Perreault's the one playing with Miller and Zibanejad, where Othman is in the top 6 as the filler, that obviously they're trying to have him find his game. But I mean, that shows you what they're thinking about these guys, and that they're really giving Perreault the opportunity to mesh with Miller and Zibanejad. And if the last 4 games look like the first 2, or even better than the first 2, it's gonna be tough, because like we're all like, obviously it is without a doubt a benefit for him to play 15 to 20 games in AHL, but everywhere he goes, he just performs. What are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, he was a star at BC. When he came to play with us, he didn't look elite, but he already looked like one of the better passers and puck movers on the team. For all intents and purposes, over the summer in practice, he's looked great. Now he's looked great in preseason. It's going to be tough to not play him if your goal is to win a Stanley Cup, and he is so clearly one of your best players.
And then you got the deep pairings of Morrow, Fox, Soucy, Borgen, Robertson, Pouliot. We mentioned Quick and Garand in goal tonight. Again, I think the biggest thing to look out for is not necessarily the final score, but it is how Perreault plays with Miller and Zibanejad, and how Othman plays with Lafreniere and Trocheck.
And Berard with Laba. Like, this is a really cool lineup for the Rangers to throw out when you're thinking about like where guys could potentially be. Not even for opening day lineup, but like, can we believe in these guys? Will these guys potentially be on the bus if someone goes down? Do you feel comfortable calling up a Laba? Do you feel comfortable calling up a Rubric? And then Soucy interests me. He was awful last year. He's the last guy in the league that should be playing man-to-man defense. He hasn't always been awful. He hasn't always been awful. Has he been great? I don't know. Oh, Vince tweeted out an update. So Morrow's in the bottom pair with Pouliot. So is it Robertson, Fox?
I'll find it. Is
Pouliot a lefty or a righty?
We'll get this off the screen. Is who?
Is Pouliot a lefty or a righty?
Your guess is as good as mine on that one, brother.
Because if he's a lefty and they're moving Morrow to the right side next to Pouliot, I like that. Because they're giving him an opportunity to play on his strong side with a third pairing. No, I'm interested to Robertson, Borgen. So wait, wasn't Borgen not? Or was Borgen with Soucy there?
Borgen was with Soucy. It's Soucy, Fox, Robertson, Borgen, Pouliot, Morrow.
We're 100% sure that it's Gavrikov and Fox, right?
I would throw a tantrum if it was not.
All right, yeah, because I read something the other day that like some of Drury's philosophy is sometimes to like, and we did it with Keandre Miller, is to like split up your top 2 so you could throw a good defenseman out there. But if it's Soucy, Fox, I'll literally jump off my roof.
That's what the lineup is now. No change in the top.
There you go.
No change in the forward group. The D group is severely different.
And also, going back to 2 years ago, I was saying this, and then I was shut up, and then I kind of was not proven right, but on the right track towards end of last year. We need Jonathan Quick to be not awful this year. If you're going where you want to go, and the Rangers obviously aren't this elite of elite teams sitting here, like, you got to win a decent amount of games that your backup goalie is playing, especially when Igor takes that month sabbatical that he always takes. Like, Igor is going to play 60 games probably. You got to find 22 from somewhere. Quick was god-awful towards the end of last year. Like, we can't have a Jonathan Quick with a 4.5 goals against that starts the year like 0-5. The Rangers need to be cognizant of that. I think most of us hated the contract when they gave it to him. It was like, why'd they do that at this point? I know the other side of it is we're not in the locker room, and he is one of those guys that, for all intents and purposes, holds it together. But if you have a 4.5 goals against and you're not winning games, I don't know how much you can keep the locker room together to begin with. So we're talking about so many other guys. Quick's doesn't have to be the best backup in the league, but has to be an extremely serviceable backup, or else we're talking about Garand, who has been very good for whatever the Rangers have asked of him and is getting to the point, if not now, when.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to answer your question, by the way, Pouliot is a lefty.
Yeah, I assume when they move Morrow over. So, all right. So, I mean, that line doesn't really tell me anything about Morrow, besides that they really don't want him playing on the left side, which makes sense. It'll be more telling in the last few games if he gets more looks with Susi or Vakanainen.
All right. Is there anything else you'd want to add before we head out? Do we want to put a wager on tonight's game? Does it matter? Over? Let's take the over. Collectively, let's take the over.
Let's take the Rangers goals over parlayed with Nolan McLean outs over.
Nolan McLean outs over, Rangers goals over, Cubs money line. Good.
I mean, if the Mets lose tonight, it's over. It's over. If the Mets
the Reds won. The Diamondbacks are getting their ass kicked.
And did you see what? Yeah, the Diamondbacks lost, but the Marlins sat their pitchers this week. So over the weekend, we have Sandy Alcantara, Yuri Perez, and Edwin Cabrera. So their three horses are going against us. And we don't even have anyone slotted for Saturday or Sunday yet. Sunday's probably a bullpen game. So this is a must-win with really our only starting pitcher of
what is it? The
right now.
Sproat,
is
Peterson and Minaya. That's going to save the season. Good luck.
Sproat's on Friday. Peterson Sunday right now.
See you in March. Good luck. There's not a team that I've hated more in my life than this version of the New York Mets.
That includes
last year's Rangers team.
And they deserve all the shit that all the other fan bases are talking about them, because we puffed our chest when we were spending the money. We puffed our chest when we had the best record in the MLB 90 days ago. And nothing is more Mets than.
All right, wait, hang on. I will, before we go after this. The Tigers have had a worse collapse this year, but nobody's talking about it. It's the Mets.
Yeah, and because we spent $1 billion this offseason.
Yeah, well,
we're puffing our chests. But no, from a straight up just wins and losses, the Tigers' collapse has obviously numerically been worse than the Mets. But when you talk about everything involved with it and where the Mets were supposed to be, coming off an NLCS, signing Juan Soto, talking as much shit as we were talking, people love to hate the Mets, and when they're on ESPN and the MLB Network, these guys are just absolutely clowning them. Especially Eduardo Perez, because we didn't hire him. That guy has a bone to pick with the Mets. But look, people liked us when we were the lovable losers that were poor and the Wilpons weren't spending money. Then Cohen came in, and all of a sudden it was bad to spend money in a non-salary cap sport. But look, I'm being upfront. Probably for the next 4 days, I'm not going to be watching too much Rangers preseason. I catch it when in between innings, but go Mets and go Rangers. And it's October 7th, right? It's the first Rangers game?
October 7th and October 9th in Buffalo. I'll be there for that one.
That's fun. Buffalo is always a tough matchup for the Rangers, man.
I will always remember last year, that game in Buffalo.
Is it right after the Four Nations or right before?
Well, there's two of them. There was two of them. There's one in December that I was at, and that was one of the worst hockey games I've ever seen played by a collective of two teams. That was two teams that just sucked. And then the game right after Four Nations, I was actually in Arizona at the time, so I did not.
That was 5-0 early on, right? And
it was 5-0 at the end of one, and I think they lost 8-0 or 8-1. That was just an ass beating.
Yeah.
So I will be there October 9th. I will be in Buffalo. If anybody listening will be in the Buffalo area, I will be there for that game. October 16th, they play in Toronto. I will be in Toronto for that game. If anybody listening is in Toronto for that game, hit me up. You guys got my social media. If not, it is.
I thought you were about to say social security number.
Reverse is right there. You might have my social security number. Who knows? I'm not very careful online, but either way, we've got some games that we'll be at, and I might be at the Garden on the 23rd of October. That's my birthday, so I might have some time off and go to the Garden because I have not been in forever. Funny enough,
really?
I have
we'll go to a game this year then.
I got an MSG tattoo on my bicep, on my left bicep. I haven't been to MSG in like 2 years.
Are you a Knicks fan at all? I feel like we never really talked.
Technically, yeah, I don't care.
Okay.
My fandom goes Mets, Rangers. I'm sorry, Rangers, Mets, then Jets. If we're talking pro sports, college football, love it. But all right, we are completely off the wagon at this point. That's it for us. Rangers play in 10 minutes against the Islanders. Come next Thursday, we'll have talk about that game. We'll be 3 or 4 steps closer to the regular season starting. Brendan will be back. It's going to be a jam-packed episode next week. Thank you all for being here. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.
Peace.